King, a tidal wave, excellence, perfect, life looks brilliant, give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, yeah, you're burying me, You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow. I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me. I know you bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head, get you out of my head again. Just to feel like I'm fading, and though my heart breaks, I'm beaten down. I crossed the line just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't even say that I drown with a child's play in the rain. I feel like I'm fading. Come on, give it all you got. You're trying to save me, but you're making it all worse. Every time you hear these words, I'll be down the road, cause I got the odds, I'm better on my side. I don't want you to try to be wise. I'm calling it right. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading, and though my heart breaks, I'm beaten down. I press the lens just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't even say that I drown with a child's play in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's party time with us. We are the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and that man right beside me, you know him. He's the man with the angelic voice. He is Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday. How you doing, brother?
Woo, I'm doing great, Munson. Great introduction as usual, and I'm right where I like to be on Thursday nights doing Ring Respect Radio with Money Bobby Munson.
It's going to be a hell of a time. We're going to have some fun talking about some Canadian professional wrestling here tonight, Pop Smokes, as we want to go ahead and we put it out earlier today. We're nearing the 700 subscriber mark here on OLE Podcast's YouTube channel. Help us get over that mark. We're very, very close. We just had another subscriber by the name of Michael. Just subscribe. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. And if you can, get your friends, family, and sign up pages for your dogs, cats, goldfish, whatever you need to do. Keep those subs coming in for OLE Podcast. And we say hello to Mr. Bobby Stats, Bobby Petito up in the house on MLW Intimidation Games on their YouTube channel. Delmy Exo defended the championship against Tara Zap. I still haven't got around to watching it, Bobby. It is on my list. I want to get around to watching that card. I have heard a little bit about what went down, but it will happen one of these days coming up very soon. And it's Basser, the Bass Man's up in the house. And Bass, you're going to love this. This coming Saturday on the YouTube channel for Prairie Pro Wrestling. It is the title defense, the Short Kings versus Barack Arani and Levi Knight, where that was that moment where you and you little Bass are caught on video. They're getting all psyched up for that title defense. So tune in this Saturday. You and little Bass got to watch that one. It is fantastic. Also, Papa Smoke's friend, Mr. Thomas, was in a tag match as well on that card. There we go. Your close personal friend, Papa Smokes, was on that card. So now you have to watch it.
Bobby knows.
That's right. He knows the term. He memorizes this stuff.
Oh, that's for sure. That's so awesome.
There we go. But yeah, we are going to be talking today, Papa Smokes, about Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, the company that has been started out in Ontario. This has been started by Scott Diamore. They have done one previous event, Forged in Excellence, and now this weekend, Friday and Saturday, a 2-night event live and available on Triller TV Plus. You can go ahead and buy it. It's not even that much money. It's a reasonably good price for a 2-day event on pay-per-view. So make sure that you go and support them and buy that pay-per-view and watch this, because we're going to run down the card for both nights. And there is some heavy-hitting matchups, some historic stuff going down at Mayhem this weekend. Papa Smokes, did you get around to seeing anything from the previous event, Forged in Excellence, or are you kind of gearing up for your very first event watching this one this coming weekend?
Well, I haven't watched any from that previous event. It took place in October, I think, right, of last year, and then a little bit of a break before this next card here. No, I haven't seen much of it. I looked at the card rundown and all that just to see if some of the talent they have access to and had booked for that. It strikes me like that card might have been a bit of a warm-up, a bit of a dry run, a bit of a dress rehearsal, so to speak. I feel like this next card in March this weekend might be the true sort of gala evening for the company.
It's going to be a good one here, Papa Smokes. We're going to run through that card in just a quick moment. Yes, as Bobby's saying, he's excited for more Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. I am too. I just want to give a quick shout out and say that Papa Smokes, we put out an announcement earlier today from Prairie Pro Wrestling that we only had 10 tickets remaining for Saturday, April the 26th. I want to let everybody know, if you're tuning in, those tickets are already gone, my friends. It is sold out for the seating ticket. If you haven't got your seats, you ain't getting seats. You'll still have a crack at the general admission tickets for that show on the 26th. It is going to be absolutely dynamite. As always, Papa Smokes, looking forward to getting back in the action and seeing all of our good friends at the PPW Nation.
And it's a month out, and it's fully sold out, too. It shows the demand and the loyalty of the PPW Nation. We love you. Keep coming, and we'll keep putting on the great shows. It's our pleasure, especially not to say I have that much to do with it, but the talent and the PPW management that throw these shows do such a great job, and we love you fans all the way.
So with that, Pop Smokes, I wanted to give people a quick rundown of what we got coming up here on Ring Respect Radio over the next little bit, because we've got a jam-packed house of things going on. Like, man, I've been trying to make balance of everything. I was trying to get a special guest on the show this week. Didn't quite work out with people's schedules. So in that process, I've had to rearrange. That's why we're doing the preview show tonight. Next week, we're going to give a bit of a recap, a little bit of a review of this show. But I think we're also going to have Ed on next Thursday night to also do a preview show for Cold Fury coming up for Chaotic Wrestling. So I think next week is going to be a bit of a dual, be a preview show, but it's also going to be a review show of MLP's Mayhem as well, too. So we're going to cram that into all of an hour for you guys next week. On the 27th, of course, it's the trivia night, and it's ladies' night on Trivia Night, Papa Smokes. All the questions about women's wrestling. Only women competitors on the screen competing for that charity, and it is a women's-based charity, so that's something to look forward to. The 3rd of April, I believe that we are going to, at that point in time, be having – that is when we're going to do our next trip through the territories, actually, is April the 3rd. And then the week after that, Papa Smokes, I've already pre-booked this one, and this was one you didn't even realize, and I still got to get around to booking other people in April. The second weekend of April, we're actually going to have the other voice of Prairie Pro Wrestling, Mr. J.G. Muller, is going to be joining the Video Bros to talk about wrestling here on the show. So looking forward to having J.G. Muller on the channel for the very first time. It's going to be a great time. And I know that one threw you off, Papa Smokes. You didn't know I had booked that one, but plan was made just yesterday.
Yeah, no, we've talked about it before in talking about excellent guests to have on, and that's a great one. You've said it before, and I fully agree with you. J.G. Muller, the best ring announcer in the business, and I mean that.
100%. Bobby saying awesome. Bobby also, let's go back to our main topic here of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. On the last MLP show, night one, there was a night one match between Takeshita and Speedball Mike Bailey. Night two, Takeshita took on Josh. I mean, those are big matches right there. I mean, and they're not short of big matches this time around, and epic stuff going down. I mean, first and foremost, let's talk about the MLP Canadian Women's Championship, the title that they're going to be presenting over this weekend, a tournament that's taking place over 2 nights. We're going to have 4 matches in the first round on night one, and then we're going to have the semifinals and finals taking place on night number 2. Looking forward to seeing what you think of this lineup here, Papa Smokes. Starting with one of the opening matches, Serena Deeb taking on Aurora Teves. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Not as familiar with Aurora, but of course you and I are very familiar with Serena's work, and interesting to see that she's going to be entering into this tournament.
Yeah, very much so. And I the most recent times I've seen Serena Deeb has been on AEW television, and they tried to push her towards one of the ladies' titles on that show, but she never really seemed to get her wheels underneath her all that well. So let's see how it goes in Maple Leaf Wrestling. There's nothing. Serena Deeb's awesome. Like, she's such a great ring psychologist, very great skill and all that. We'll just see how the fans take to her in MLP, because they weren't all that sure in AEW, I don't think, but she's not short on skill. That's for damn sure. She was trained by those guys down in OVW, Rip Rogers and a few of his buddies. They teach you the old school wrestling way. You learn the rough way and you learn the right way, and Deeb is one of their top students.
Well, and keep in mind, too, Ontario is a totally different audience as well. Like, you get into a show in Ontario, especially a small type show like this one, and you're going to bring on the hardest core type wrestling fans that there are, and they are going to make noise. They're going to know who everybody on this card is, and I think they're going to bring that energy level to this entire thing. So I'm looking forward to this. Again, don't know much about Aurora Teves. Looking forward to finding out more about Aurora Teves in this matchup and see how this thing pans out. Next up, again, this is one I'm not as familiar with, but we got Taylor Rising, who I know a little bit of their work against, and I hope I say this, it's Bea Moss, Beaa. It's a different way of saying it. I hope Bobby can help me out on this one. Stats man, I'm looking your way, how the pronunciation is, but I'm seeing it as Bea Moss or B Moss. It's got to be something along those lines. But yes, this one going to be taking place, Taylor Rising against Bea Moss. Bob Smokes, I don't know enough to really give a lot of insight. Oh, awesome. 2 for 2 on the names here tonight. But yeah, I don't know much about either one of them that much. I'm a little bit more about Taylor, but not enough that I can give a lot of insight into this one.
Well, I know Taylor Rising is a Canadian star, and I'm not sure about Bea, But that's one of the things I'm excited about with Maple Leaf Wrestling is being a Canadian, give them a platform to get some Canadian talent up there and out there and on Triller TV, which can conceivably get quite a few eyeballs onto their product as well. Like, isn't Triller one of those channels you can get where it kind of opens it up to a whole bunch of different channels?
It's so with this one though, you are right. Like if you have a Triller TV Plus subscription, Pop Smokes, like you can watch whatever is offered on there. But with this particular program, when you want to watch it live, it is a pay-per-view. So that you do Triller TV does offer pay-per-views as well too, and this happens to be a 2-night pay-per-view. I think, if I'm not mistaken, down the road it eventually will go on Triller TV Plus, but it takes a little while to make it
Right.
something that people want to spend their money on. And you should spend, again, it's not very much money to rent this pay-per-view at all. So I definitely say, fork out the money this weekend, support this company. Let's see what they can do. I mean, they're crowning the first ever MLP Canadian Women's Champion. Can't wait to see it. And in this next match, Papa Smokes, another opening match. And we know that one of these two is going to be an eyes-on favorite, someone we're familiar with. Giselle Shaw is going to be taking on Lainey Luck. And I imagine across the board, if you're a betting person, a lot of people are going to have their money on Giselle to go the distance in this tournament.
Well, and speaking of female talent that we've seen for a long time in these parts, Giselle Shaw, a veteran of Saskatchewan wrestling on the tours she used to make. We used to see her in Saskatoon all the time. And that's been a person that we've seen improve and improve and improve. Was good right off the bat, but became a lot better. And then, Munson, that was 8 years ago now. I mean, she's been wrestling the entire time, and I've seen her social media posts where she's touring Japan and she's touring all over Europe and stuff. She's getting all kinds of reps in against different kinds of opponents, different styles, different psychologies. So you know that she's a lot better now. So just as Bobby says, she's got as good a chance as anybody, maybe better, to come out of this as the inaugural ladies champ. And is this belt being handed out the first ever? It's a new championship, so to speak.
Brand new championship. First time ever. So this is history making right here.
Very fun. Very fun.
Yeah. And again, you have the betting favorite has to be Giselle Shaw, but eyes are going to be on this next match, Papa Smokes. The last match in the opening rounds of this tournament. We're talking about PPW's own intangible Zoe Sager is going to be taking on Kylie Ray, another big name in the industry. Both of these two have got the WWE ID marks behind them. Kylie Ray has been making waves on the independent scene for quite some time. Very good talent. But Zoe Sager, we've seen the rise of Zoe Sager here in our neck of the woods. We've seen what she can get done. We've seen her take on absolutely the best of the best across Canada and everywhere she's traveled. This match I am very much invested in, very interested in, and happy to support our own Zoe Sager. I mean, as much of a talent I think Kylie Ray is, I'm going to have to say I'm going with my personal favorite because we work with her and I would like to support those people that we know best. I'm going with Zoe Sager on this one.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. And I know that Kylie Ray is somewhat a veteran of the indie scene. She's had a cup of coffee in AEW. She's had a cup of coffee in the WWE developmental and all that. So she knows her way around the squared circle as well. But I'm going with Zoe Sager on this. We just called one of her matches an hour ago. She's hot right now in the wrestling scene. She's got that WWE ID little contract type thing that she's got going on, and they're just going to let her season herself up a little bit in the indies until they're ready to call her up. And man, she has no trouble getting bookings. We see that she's working all the way from Vancouver out to Toronto in this huge country of ours. It's a lot of miles and a lot of driving, but Zoe Sager's a wrestling prodigy, and she's going to live that life. She's a wrestler, and I respect that a whole lot. So yes, my my vote is behind Zoe Sager, pulling for her all the way.
You bet. Go get him, Zoe. It's going to be good, though. That is going to be the first night for the matches in the tournament. And then, of course, night 2, we will see the winners go on to compete until we crown a champion. So I like the fact that we are getting this tournament all in one weekend, Papa Spokes. This isn't over the course of several weeks or anything like that. This is almost true to form straight up tournament, because in night 2, you will have more than one matchup if you wish to go on to become the champion that night. It is going to prove who is the best of the best. Now, speaking of championships, there is a championship going to be on the line here. There is a matchup listed as the Oceanic Championship matchup. I think this is somehow tied to the Jericho Cruise stuff, if I'm not mistaken. We've got Jabari taking on Stu Grayson, taking on Taiji Ishimori, taking on Brett Banks, taking on Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and also taking on Rich Swann. This is a lot of people in one matchup, Papa Spokes. I have a feeling this is going to be a lot of spots happening, a lot of back and forth happening. I know this one's not going to be my cup of tea necessarily. I'm still going to watch it. I really want to support our PPW champion, Michael Allen, Richard Clark, who's got 2 big matchups this weekend. And wouldn't that be something else if he actually was able to go out there and capture another belt? He could become the new belt collector as he proudly walks around PPW champion as well.
Yeah, from what I've heard, Michael Allen Richard Clark walks around with that PPW belt all the time in his private life, as if you wouldn't, right? Like everybody would.
Yeah, it's going to be one hell of a match. Hopefully one hell of a match. It'll be good to see. Again, support to the people we know and appreciate there. That's what I'm looking for.
I'm joking around too. That it's a multi-man match. Like you said, it's going to be a schmozzle and a big long series of spots and everything else. It's not totally my cup of tea, but we've got some Western Canadian talent in that match, and then some other great talents like Rich Swann and all that have proven themselves on all kinds of wrestling stages throughout the world. So I'm just happy for our guy Michael Allen Richard Clark. Also from Edmonton, to these guys that have just been in the trenches for a long time out here in Western Canada. It's good to see them get on a stage and work with some different talent and some wrestlers that have been in bigger companies and wrestlers that they can learn from as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it pans out. The other 2 matches we got listed here, I'm showing Papa Spokes. One is Sheldon Jean versus Kato Kiyomiya. I probably am not pronouncing that right. I don't know anything about these 2. There's nothing I can add to this. Again, another opportunity for me to get to see a couple of talents I'm not familiar with. So excited to learn more about these 2 individuals.
Sure. And from some of the research I was doing, it sounds like Maple Leaf Wrestling has a little deal with that Oceanic thing, which is Jericho's thing, but he's also negotiating or has negotiated a deal with a Japanese company, and I think they're going to be trading some talent as well, which is why you see a few of those Japanese names on there. Have the feeling that the trading is starting off already. And as we've noticed with indie wrestling companies, very fun and very awesome to get talent from different companies, because you get to see those different flavors and those different styles right in your own backyard.
Yeah, gonna be looking forward to learning more about these 2 gentlemen. Then we've got what I'm assuming is going to end up going on as the main event of night 1, Papa Spokes, the NWA Championship. The 16 pounds of gold is on the line for the first time in Ontario. I can't remember what the stat said that they put out today, but this is the first time that the 16 pound of gold has been defended in Ontario in a very, very, very long time. It is going to be the champion, Tom Latimer, taking on Bishop Dyer, all formerly known as Baron Corbin. I'm very interested in the way this one's going. In fact, Tom Peastock, aka Baron Corbin, aka Bishop Dyer, I when he wasn't having to be an absolute fucking goof over on WWE, I liked what he brought to the table. I liked the lone wolf gimmick that he was doing when he was in NXT. I was behind that. I think the guy, I mean, he's a 5-time, what is it? It's Golden Gloves champion, I believe is the name of the title that he's got for his boxing career. He's gone off. He's quite entertaining. If you go watch him on social media, he makes some pretty comical social media posts along the way too, but he's come back and he's doing a lot of these spots. He's getting into blood sport. He's going to be a part of that, or has been a part of that all of a sudden. And he's starting to make a splash. I think that this is a great championship matchup. I'm very invested in watching Tom Latimer and Bishop Dyer in this main event.
No, same. And that's very interesting about the NWA title defense. I'm trying to think of to when possibly the last one might have been. It probably would have been in the late 80s, unless some, like I'm talking about the NWA under the actual governing board with Jim Crockett and all the guys. So it probably might have been in 88 or 89, unless some later version of the NWA, which was not the NWA, the territories NWA that we remember, but you remember various promoters took control of that title and had it. We had various champions, Steve Carino and Adam Pearce, and all kinds of dudes held it throughout the years, possibly once or twice in that era. But I wouldn't be surprised if the last time was in the late 80s.
Yeah, their claim for their post here says it's been 20 years since the NWA's World Championship was last seen in a Windsor ring. So I'm not sure what would, because if we were talking about around 2005 or the tail end of 2004. So we're talking, I mean, it almost makes it feel like that would have been the start or around there for TNA wrestling or something like that, and would have been at the start when they were actually still utilizing the 16 pound of gold as the championship in TNA wrestling.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense then, yeah. But Big Tom Latimer has that belt now, and God, I just see that Sweet Charlotte, that belt. It's the perfect belt. It's so simple, but it's the most historical belt out of all of them, including the WWE belts, and the most talented wrestlers have held that NWA belt. That's still the one, as a fan out here dreaming, that's the one I'd like to have right there.
You bet. As Bobby saying, hopefully this opens up NWA since their belt is being defended at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. True. But Bobby, weren't you the one who said the other day on one of our videos that you thought that AJ Francis, aka Flop Dollar, didn't remind you of a TNA wrestler, but more of an NWA wrestler in a post to try to tear down Mr. Flop Dollar a little bit? I got you, Bobby. I got you. I'm watching what you're writing there, sir.
That's still a good statement, though.
It is a good statement. Hey, don't get me wrong. When I saw that Bobby had posted that, I chuckled heavily at that comment. It was a good one. So, but yeah, that's what we got for night one of this card. So already it's looking good. That is tomorrow night's particular card. And again, Pop Smokes, we're going to get the opportunity to watch that, talk a little bit more about the results of it next Thursday night. But then we've got Saturday's card. And again, the continuation of the Canadian Women's Championship tournament that is going to go on that night. Then we have got this one, Papa Smokes. We have got our PPW champion, Michael Allen Richard Clark. And he is taking on the undead Frankenstein, the 7,000-year-old Frankenstein, whatever, the Quebecer that won't quit Frankenstein. He is PCO, and this is a street fight as well. And I think a lot of people, because they're not familiar with Michael Allen Richard Clark's work, might go into this thinking that this favors PCO, that the street fight stipulation is in favor of PCO because it's what he's used to. It's right up his alley. But what they don't understand is our champion, when he has to go there, Papa Smokes, when he has to put it on the line and he has to step up in these types of fights, whether it's the TLC matchup, whether it's an absolute unsanctioned street fight with the crazed cowboy, he shows up and he brings the fight. And I think the PCO is also going to get a rude awakening in this matchup when he goes toe-to-toe with our champion.
Yeah, you could be right, but I must say when I saw the announcement of this match on X, I looked at that and just thought, my God, Michael, what have you gotten yourself into? And I realized he has a match the previous night, but if this no rules match against PCO is kind of his welcome to Maple Leaf Wrestling, whew, boy, that's going to be a tough one. I agree with what you say. Michael Allen Richard Clark is a great competitor, very tenacious, and we've seen him reach down into the depths and bring out a viciousness and a sadism that was needed to win and needed to stop somebody around PPW. But PCO, man, how do you stop this guy? I started following him because of some of his training videos that he has with his little manager there. That's kind of like the evil Johnny Two Fingers there, the some kind of a wizard or something. And anyway, they're shocking him with jumper cables. They're smashing huge pots over his head. They're bending steel bars around his head. Like, PCO is middle-aged, crazy, and impervious to pain, seemingly. So Michael Allen's got a tall order in front of him, man. And if this is his welcome to Maple Leaf Wrestling, I almost wonder who he's pissed off down there already. I'm only kidding, but I mean, this is a crazy match to be stuck in. But listen, he might be able to come out of that match as the guy that people remember from that night, right? Because it's going to be a wild match. There will be some crazy stuff going on there. It's a huge opportunity for Michael Allen Richard Clark. And for one of his fans and supporters, myself, I'm thrilled about this, and I hope he goes out there and knocks him dead.
I do too. I'm going to be rooting for him all the way. Papa Smokes, we're being joined now by Astrid in the chat. Astrid, how are you doing this evening? Thank you for joining the Video Bros here on Ring Respect Radio. Hope you didn't piss off Scott Tiamore. Yeah, I hope so too, because again, that would seemingly be the case, or why Michael Allen Richard Clark might be up against PCO in a street fight. But again, Michael Allen Richard Clark, as we said, won't back down from those types of fights, Papa Smokes. The opportunity's on the table, and he's going to go show everybody who doesn't know who he is why it is he is a top name everywhere he goes, and he is going to represent Western Canada very well. He's going to represent Saskatchewan well. He's going to represent independent wrestling very, very well this coming Saturday when he lights it up with PCO.
For sure. And that joke about him pissing off Scott D'Amore, just to be clear, I am joking. It's a figure of speech, but being put in that match would seem like you did piss somebody off, you know?
Yeah, but we know damn well that Michael Allen Richard Clark has no problem poking the bear when it comes to the angriest of angry in professional wrestling. He likes to get them riled up, and he likes to get into a fight, and we're going to see that this coming Saturday. Looking forward to it. From there, we are also going to see Mike Bennett and Matt Taven taking on the team of Kushida and Kevin Knight. Very familiar with all four of the competitors in this one, Papa Spokes. I'm looking forward to this. This is four guys I know in tag team action, most of which I'm decently enough of a fan of their work, and I believe that we're going to get a very solid tag team matchup here.
Oh, and this is what a new company needs on their first shows is matches from wrestlers who can handle the task, right? We know Taven and Bennett. They've done great work at all different levels in wrestling from the indies on up. But in this match, we've got all four guys with a bunch of experience and everything. These guys can sit down and lay out a nice match. This is perfect for the card, especially having a tag team match, especially putting it on in the middle-ish area of the card. It's going to be great for the live fans and great for the people viewing. I think just they don't have to knock the roof down. They don't have to set the place on fire. Just make a good, solid, experienced wrestler tag team match, and it'll strengthen that card and hold it together so much better, pardon me. And it's perfect. A good idea to put that match right in the middle of night 2.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We're also going to get another tag team match. We got 2 tag team matches on night 2, Papa Smokes. Tom Latimer going to be coming back for another match. He's going to be teaming up with the Indie King Matt Cardona to take on Billy Gunn and the returning Bishop Dyer for another match. Again, I like the sounds of this. I don't know why, Papa Smokes. I think this should be interesting. You got 4 very experienced professional wrestlers here in this matchup. You got some big boys in this matchup. They're going to be able to throw down heavily. I like it. I like another great tag team matchup set for this night 2 of this card.
Very much so. And whereas the previous match we just talked about was just needs to be solid, just needs to be a good, solid match all the way through. This one that we're talking about now with Cardona and Latimer, this now has some bigger star power to it, this match, including getting Billy Gunn, who's been to the top of the big company and all that stuff. This match can get some more eyes on their product because a lot of these guys are quite well known. Cardona is the king of the indies right now, gets all kinds of heat everywhere he goes. Latimer is good. And then also Baron Corbin, Bishop Dyer.
Yeah.
Very interesting also. This is a guy that I haven't watched a whole ton of, but again, he's a guy that kind of started at one place in wrestling and then has evolved to a completely different place. I'm very curious to see how he's going to do his kind of character work and his presentation and his ring work with this new name and new kind of outlook that he's got since leaving the big company. I think he's been out there a little bit. I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm curious. This will be good, and this will be really fun.
Yeah, the best part about his presentation so far is it's come across more like an actual fighter. He's kind of coming out that presentation like, yeah, I can be a fun guy when I'm chilling at home, barbecuing, and making videos for TikTok. But when I'm coming out to that ring, I'm going to punch you in the face and I'm going to beat the living piss out of you. And that's what I'm liking about his presentation so far. He is a tough guy acting like a tough guy in professional wrestling, which is kind of why I think they missed the point on him in the first place. Like, people like to laugh at the comedy bits that they gave him, but I groaned. He made the most of it. Don't get me wrong. He tried his best with the shit that was thrown his way and everything like that. It's never a detriment to him doing what he was asked to do for his job and stuff like that. But me personally, as a fan, I prefer the presentation of him now than I did when he was doing the various other gimmicks that they had him doing on the main card.
Yeah, okay, very interesting. I'm curious to see that too. I'm glad you also brought up some of his online videos, though. I'm a fan of some of his meat seasoning and cooking and smoking and all that. He's got quite a nice setup there, and obviously he likes his meat. I've watched him cook a couple of big whole sides of flank steak. I've seen him with a few briskets and all that. He really knows what he's doing. He's got some nice equipment. Like those videos, good stuff.
Yeah, he knows how to chill, drink a beer, and smoke some good meat. That's a guy you'd love to hang out with and watch some pro wrestling with on the weekend. And it's a guy who I'm going to be excited to watch this weekend, 2 nights in a row. Looking forward to seeing Bishop Dyer in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Then we've got Rohan Araja taking on Rich Swann. These two got decent names behind them. 2 people that could really help Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, and an opportunity for another good one-on-one matchup on this card. So another one that I'm looking forward to coming this weekend.
Okay, I feel a bit silly, but I have to ask, is Raja Jinder Mahal?
No. No.
That's not him? Okay, because he has a different name now, doesn't he?
He does, and I can't quite remember, but I'm sure Bobby will let us know in the comments what Jinder's current name, his actual name is. But Raja
I don't know Raja then.
He was a part of NXT UK, I believe, for a while, if I'm not mistaken. So he has worked a little bit on that side of the fence and everything. He's, been world traveled enough. So, I mean, he's got at least enough of a name. Like, he's not a big name, like he worked the main roster or anything like that, but it's a name where he's been around, he's done the work, he's been in multiple places, and he's now bringing that to Maple Leaf. So I think it's a fantastic get for them, especially, Rich Swann brings experience to that ring as well, too, in one-on-one action. I think these two will be able to light it up decently, get the crowd pumping. It's definitely going to be more fast paced. I'm sure of that, especially with Swann in the matchup. But again, no harm there too. This would be the greatest way to pick the crowd back up at any point in time, or even to kickstart the whole night off. If that's how night 2 kicks off, was with that fast paced, good action right away off the hop, you're going to get that crowd nice and hot. And like we said, the crowd in Ontario, they are a different breed sometimes, and you get them going and they're going to be energized the whole goddamn night. As Bobby letting us know, yes, Raj Singh is what Jinder goes by. He would have been a great guy. Again, I would have loved to have seen him on the card, to be honest.
Yeah. He's a Western Canadian too, but okay, so we don't know if this match is the main event or not. It's just kind of listed.
I probably just read it from top to bottom. I'm assuming that by the way the card's listed is that if these are written in the way that it's actually going to be presented, that means that the ladies will go on last to present the title in the main event, which I think is a fantastic way of doing it. You're presenting a championship. You're presenting a major championship. I don't care whether it's a men's championship, women's championship, tag championship. You're presenting a championship. That needs to be a main event.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And if they're going to put any emphasis at all on the ladies' matches, which I think they should, then make a big deal out of that title. Then make it in your first show. If that's the new belt that you're giving out, definitely put it in that top spot. Because as we all know, wrestling is about matches and promos and all that, but it's about moments too. And if there's a moment where that's emotional, when someone has gone through a struggle, has won a match or two the night before, and then 2 matches that night, it's a struggle and it's emotional, and the crowd can get involved with that if it's well done. If they see somebody struggle to get that belt, be it Giselle Shaw or Zoe Sager or Kylie Ray, whoever it happens to be, there's your emotional moment right there. There's the victory, the sweat, the blood, the tears, and the belt, the ultimate prize, the ultimate treasure handed over. That's the moment you want. That's the moment when the kids going to the show, and some of the adults as well, but I remember as a kid seeing little moments like that and thinking, damn, that's significant to the wrestling that I like. And I was there. I saw it. I felt it from the crowd along with everybody else. That's what we try and do in wrestling, is make moments. And you and I have both seen evidence of that, the PPW shows as well, because we've seen young fans with their minds blown at a championship change or a heel turn or anything like that. It's about those moments. And Maple Leaf Wrestling has a big chance, a big chance to make a big moment on Saturday night with that new ladies champion.
Yes, it's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. And I want to take this time to make a plea to not only the people watching live, but everybody watching on replay, any of the PPW Nation that watches our YouTube channel or comes to our live shows. The price of this pay-per-view for 2 nights is very, very reasonable. You can fork out that much money, I'm sure of it, because I've seen how much you fork out at PPW shows on merch, on beer, and on tickets. I know you can afford to have the family watch Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling this Friday and Saturday and support PPW's own Zoe Sager and Michael Allen Richard Clark. I am telling you now, these cards are going to be worth it. It's going to be worth your time and your money to invest in supporting another upcoming professional wrestling company that is stationed right here in Canada. So bless them. Hope the best for them. I'm looking forward to it. I'm stoked, Papa Smokes. This is going to be a good set of nights of pro wrestling to watch.
Yeah, I'm kind of pumped also, and I like what you just gave out to the PPW fans and really to any wrestling fans. Try it. It's a new company. It's a new alternative. We're kind of swamped by the big companies these days. They're taking over everything as they have been slowly for a long time now, but there's still independent wrestling. And as a Canadian, I'm interested in this also because it's now a Canadian product. We get a chance to get some of our talent out there, get some eyeballs upon them, and maybe they can make a jump upwards into a bigger spotlight and a bigger paycheck that they want to earn, which they deserve after all the hard work they've done. Another thing about Maple Leaf Wrestling is we've talked about this company, Maple Leaf Wrestling, before on our podcast, on Trip to the Territories, on Video Bros Network, and Ole Podcasts on YouTube, by the way. Subscribe, hit the notification button as well, and watch that because we talk about the origins of Maple Leaf Wrestling. It was kind of under the auspices of WWF for a while there, but because of differing laws about media in Canada, Vince couldn't put his same TV show on TV in Canada because it's not enough Canadian content. They want to restrict the number of American shows on the airwaves. So all they did was change the branding of it to Maple Leaf Wrestling and had their head promoter, Jack Tunney in Toronto, be the figurehead for that company. It was still WWF with a different hat on, but that it got a lot of exposure and was a huge company and everything. So now that the copyright came up and Scott D'Amore and his ownership group have acquired that, they can resurrect that brand again. Excuse me. It's not exactly at all the same company as it was before, but it's a spiritual reimagining of Maple Leaf Wrestling, this time without the strings being pulled by the larger company. Now D'Amore, who's quite a good wrestling mind from what I can tell, now D'Amore's got control of his company and he can run it the way he wants to. And it's just another opportunity to get Canadian talent and other talent as well. But in my perspective, particularly Canadian indie talent can get out there on a bigger stage with a famous name behind it. The name of the branding is something that's entrenched in Canadian and Toronto wrestling culture. They can start with some momentum and with a little bit of history behind them. So this is great, man. I really hope this company does well. I will support it, and especially the talent that I know from around here, and all the new talent that I want to discover and watch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to keeping up my perm this weekend because it's got some nice flair to it. It gets a lot of nice comments there. I mean, the PPW Nation at the door at the last show is just absolutely loving the bobby curl that's going on these days. So thanks for noticing. Appreciate it. It's going to be a great night, historical night again. Papa Smokes this weekend. As always, we love that history of Canadian wrestling, the history of pro wrestling in general. Love the fact that they pay homage to the past while bringing in the new as well too. I want to go back to a question from Bobby though about this. If they were to declare their first ever men's champion, who should that be? And thinking about it, it's like you look across the card, and I don't know if they've had time to establish the names there a lot. Selfishly, I'd love for it to be Michael Allen, Richard Clark, because we know them, we work with them. That would be a fantastic position to be in, but it depends on how Scott D'Amore wants to book it. Does he want to go with building somebody who's, a fresh young talent in the industry that people aren't as familiar with, or would he want to put that championship on somebody who is a little bit more well-known that might be around there for a while and stuff too, that can hold that name as well, somebody that he's worked with before? Again, hate to say it because, PCO might not be the perfect candidate in all companies, but again, with name, establishment, somebody he's worked with, again, he's putting them in a top spot with Michael Allen, Richard Clark. It seems like there was a lot of emphasis in terms of guys that are kind of more so working for that company and aren't coming in from NWA or something like that in the process. There was a lot of emphasis put on those two guys in their matchup.
Very much so, and it all depends on how D'Amore wants to run his stuff going forward with the champion. Why aren't they having a men's champion on at least this first set of cards, as well as the ladies champion? Do we know this?
I have a feeling because Scott D'Amore wants to do exactly what the fans want to see, and that's the women get the spotlight for a change, the women to get that championship first, and why not? Everybody else is doing the opposite. They're doing the same old, same old. Scott D'Amore going, you know what? Fuck that. We're going to flip this thing. We're going to do what the fans are asking for, and we're going to give the ladies the spotlight this weekend, and they're going to get the first major championship of Maple Leaf Pro. And you know what? Respect to him for doing it. Major respect to him for doing it.
Well, yeah, respect, but also that might be the better business decision to make for this particular weekend as well, because ladies wrestling has gained so much momentum over the last, well, I don't know how many years, 20 years, 30 years, but even the last 10 years it's really gaining a lot of momentum. There's many more skilled lady wrestlers out there, and the scene is good. People want to see it, so why not? That might be a better selling option even for the company. We saw how TNA Impact used their ladies division. That was the best part of the company, pretty much, right? Was the ladies division with,
and that was under D'Amore.
Yeah, very much so. They had Jordan Grace and a whole bunch of other, Deanna Perrazzo and a whole bunch of other talented wrestlers, Chelsea Green, and on and on and on. They had a whole bunch of great talent there, and that was kind of the bread and butter of TNA Impact for a long time there. Possibly that whole time since they kind of resurrected as a Windsor, Ontario-based company. And you can see that D'Amore also has his eyes on having a strong ladies division in Maple Leaf. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice of him to do, but I also think that's probably a money-making idea as well. It'll be good, and I think fans are clamoring to see the ladies get that opportunity, make the best of it, make some memories and some moments with all the fans, make some history. First Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling Ladies Champion. Let's do it up.
Yeah. And you've got some of the best ladies prospects in that tournament this weekend too. Like, these are very, very talented women, and it's going to be a great display for them. Looking forward to all of these matches. Papa Smokes is going to be a fun time. I'm going to have my nice cold beers. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to enjoy some wrestling coming straight out of Canada. It's going to be a blast. But we are getting to the top of the hour, and it's time for us to make way because we are on Saskatchewan time, and we are now pushing that Eastern time a little bit further. We got to make way for our good friends over the Outer Ramble. Sam is joining Auntie Collins again this week to give you all the latest on tonight's Ring of Honor. But in the meantime and in between time, Papa Smokes has cost me a whole lot of money because he's going to tell you where to find him with that ticker down below.
Oh, yeah, baby. I can be found on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I am at Smokes_Papa. I'm also on Twitch at Papa_Smokes_. That's
where you can find the infamous Papa Smokes. As for myself, Bobby Munson, I'm real Bobby Munson on the X, Instagram, and Threads at Video Bros SK, Twitch Video Bro _Bobby Munson. And on the Blue Skies, it's Bobby Munson. All the other stuff that comes after it. You can read it right down below. What I've got coming up for you, as always, Saturdays right there. Papa Smokes and I are bringing you a new match on Prairie Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel. And as we said earlier on the night, this weekend, this Saturday, it's the first titled event of the Short Kings as they're taking on the team of Levi Knight and Barack Garani. Should be a banger of a matchup this Saturday for you guys. Then Sunday, it's Point of View. We're talking all things sports on our Sunday stream, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then, of course, you're going to find us right back here next Thursday to give you our thoughts on MLPW's Mayhem, and as well as hopefully having Ed Fries join us here on the channel so that we can do a preview of Chaotic Wrestling's Cold Fury show coming up as well. And you can, as Papa Smoke said earlier, you can catch us on the Video Bros Network. We hope you're subscribing over there as well, too. Give them a thumbs up. Also, do the same for us over on OLE Podcasts. You find us across all social media as well as YouTube and Twitch. Like, follow, subscribe, leave us a comment, turn on notification bells. You'll know every time that we've got new content coming at you from all the wonderful content creators we have coming from all across this wonderful globe. And speaking of that, we're going to make way for the next show coming up in about 20 minutes from now. Join Auntie Collins and Sam for the Honor Ramble. But for myself and Papa Smokes, that's it for Ring Respect Radio this week. We'll see you in a week's time. Take care, everybody.